Over 50% of Americans are anticipating to be looking for a new job this year. Sales professionals all across the board are turning over at a record high. An article just published on MSN by Inc. magazine said the Great Resignation is here. Think about the Great Depression. We are in a state of the Great Resignation. And I don't want to take credit for this article. I'm just going to take some notes from here and share some thoughts on it. But I do want to say that the article written in MSN Money, you'll catch the link in the show notes below, by Phillip Kane, groundbreaking for me, because it really points out everything that every sales professional is experiencing. Whether you're in sales leadership or whether you're a sales employee, you are experiencing the challenges of being successful in a post-COVID, mid-COVID, post-Delta world, whatever we want to call it. The Great Resignation was a term first coined in 2019. Now, I want to share something with you here. The big problem with resignation that companies experience, now it doesn't matter if it's a small company or a large company, turnover is expensive. A couple years ago, the data from the labor board said that if you had a millennial salesperson, chances are that after 2 years, they were already interviewing for another job. So there is already this social acceptance that people are job hopping and looking for other jobs. The problem with this, turnover is expensive. Employee satisfaction is key. Customer retention suffers when we don't have employee retention. So losing employees during the Great Resignation right now is difficult. It's downright horrible. Now, if you think, oh, we're just going to turn over bad employees and pick up new ones, guess again. The job market is even more challenging right now because sales professionals are being more selective at where they want to spend their time, where they want to put their bag down at, where they want their career to develop. Bottom line, the Great Resignation is here. It's real. And if you as a business owner, if you as a sales leader aren't thinking, how can I retain my talented people? How can I prevent people from my organization wanting to leave? Then you're missing the boat. I want to share something with you that is word for word, right from the article on MSN. Phillip goes on and says, whether due to a fear for personal safety, a lack of fair treatment, having to deal with a horrible boss, or an inadequate work-life balance, those fleeing that might be viewed as perfectly good jobs are simply choosing to put themselves first for a change. Employers who beat them to the punch by taking steps to create environments where associates feel safe, valued, and more empowered to make their own scheduling choices stand a great chance of keeping those employees. And when I say environment, I'm not talking about the beanbags and the ping pong tables. Yes, Phillip. Yes, yes, yes. I love how you referenced the article from Fast Company, The Era of Whack-Offy Perks is Dead. Totally agree with you with that. Sales professionals, I got to be honest with you right here. If you are in a company where you're feeling this way, just know you're not alone. Sales leadership, here's the solution, guys. The article talks about caring. I'm going to add and say empathize. It is one thing to care and show care for your employees, show care for your sales force. Take the time to demonstrate that you care for their general well-being. About a year ago when COVID was, and maybe over a year ago, I put an article out that said profits over people. And I got some great feedback. I also got some negative feedback. But the truth is, let me rephrase that, people over profits. As you can see, I record this thing live. So people over profits was what I got positive feedback. I got some negative feedback. In this day and age of dealing with people and dealing with a uncertainty that we've never dealt with before, it is one step to care. It is a second step to empathize. You have to take every action you make as a sales leader and realize the things that were once important before may not be as important anymore to your employees. They are concerned. Children going to school, there's various different variants of COVID going on right now. Customers, people feel like the world is falling down right now. It doesn't take much access or much trouble to find someone who's paranoid about COVID, who's paranoid that their business won't sustain, who's paranoid that they won't meet budget, who's paranoid that they won't meet quota, who's paranoid they won't be profitable. If you don't take the step to empathize with your employees and understand that this is one of the most difficult times that any individual has experienced, and you continue to manage the way you did before COVID, thinking that because you have a big company name, thinking because you have a profitable company, thinking because your product is the best will retain top talent, think again. The writing is on the wall. It's not just you. It's not just your industry. It is across the board. Americans are taking a step back right now and saying, hey, maybe it's time for me to put me first and the company second. Or maybe it's time for me to reevaluate what's important to me. Those angry emails that come in before hours, or those angry emails that come in after hours, or the phone calls, or even the challenges of working with a difficult work environment. Those are causing employees to say, I'm going to leave. Some married households are saying, hey, I'm going to regress from 2 incomes to 1. Some are saying, I'm going to venture and take a chance on myself. I'm going to do something on my own. Others are saying, I have money saved up. I'm going to relax and settle this thing out and see what's best for me. So the turnover problem is 100% real. It's taking place right now. If you can develop an environment where you're caring and empathizing with your employees, you can get a greater retention factor. But just because you do that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. The next thing that has to change, and this will be a problem that I want to elaborate on the article in MSN, if leadership doesn't acknowledge that this problem is real, then no matter what you do, you will fail. If the leadership of the company doesn't say that I have to change the way I treat my employees now, then your leadership is the problem. And I said that, and I mean it. I can't tell you how many times companies go hire consulting firms to come and solve a problem that is existing in the company. And many times the biggest problem isn't execution. The problem is the leaders on the top have to change their way of thinking, have to change the way they strategize, have to change the way they focus on their business. This is that exact time in history. If you as a leader or an entrepreneur aren't saying, I need to change the way I treat my employees, I need to change the way I manage my employees, I need to acknowledge just because my business card or business has been XYZ successful for so many years, that is not going to make people want to stick around and stay. If you need help in that area, I 100%, you can call a coach, you can call a consultant, but the thing that I recommend you do is look in the mirror and ask yourself this question. Is what I'm doing today in the best interest of the people that work for me? And if the answer is anything but yes, then you're doing something wrong. Because if you look at the mirror and you say, is what I'm doing today in the best interest of profits? I got to be honest with you. You will find it's going to be challenging to retain people. And I can hear it. And this is the similar feedback I got last year when I said people over profits. Anthony, you're crazy. We need to make a business successful. And I'll tell you what, the most successful business has the happiest employees. The most successful companies have the sales team that is most excited to be there. You want your organization to be happy to be part of your team. And in order to do that, sometimes you have to take a little slice off the profits and put the people first. That's what I got for you today. If you have any thoughts or feedbacks, reach out to me, text, comment, DM. I'd love to hear your feedback on this. Is the Great Resignation impacting you? I'm Anthony Garcia. It's a Catapulting Commission Sales blog. I'll see you next week.